Cardiovascular disease affects 1 in every 2 Africans older than 25, which is the highest of any continent in the world. Cardiovascular disease includes stroke, heart attacks, or any heart or blood vessel disease. It is especially prevalent in low and middle income countries. In fact, these countries account for 80% of the world's deaths from cardiovascular disease. Non-communicable diseases accounted for 1 million deaths in 2013. Nearly 34% of these were due to cardiovascular disease alone. Cardiovascular disease is very much preventable, but the problem is, in low-income countries, access to medication, to preventing it, and treatment are things people cannot get. Why is cardiovascular disease in Madagascar? Madagascar is ranked as one of the poorest countries in the world. They have a per capita income of roughly $400. These people are among the poorest of the poor, and unfortunately, medical screening and medication and treatments are not priorities. People in Madagascar are focused on simply obtaining the means to survive. Sub-Saharan Africa countries generally lack the basic medical needs to screen for cardiovascular disease, let alone treat it. Madagascar is even worse off than the average sub-Saharan country. Nutrition and education are severely lacking, and the onset and symptoms of cardiovascular disease are rapidly increasing due to education about cardiovascular health. There's also a major concern of the inadequate physical activity among these people, the lack of proper nutrition, education, awareness, treatment, and medicine, and not getting enough proper exercise on top of all that are quite literally killing these people. As you look to the left, we have a chart of obesity, the percent of obesity in Madagascar raising up, and then also raised blood pressure. Project Healthy Heart is a program that will bring areas of Madagascar the intention of expanding the local food market and improving education among the people who live there. The first stage of the project will be buying large plots of land in communities that are specifically for growing and harvesting food. The local people can work in the fields to plant and maintain the crops and harvest, and finally cook and prepare more healthy meal options for their family and themselves. The second part of this project will be improving education, providing knowledge about healthier eating habits, growing their own food, and improving exercise, and cutting back on substance use.
This chart is a great visual representation of the prevalence of CVD by country. As you can see, Madagascar is circled, and it has the highest prevalence of CVD in all of Africa. This data is from 2016, and the data is across both sexes. The graph also uses age standardization, which serves as a constant for each population age, which allows for equal comparison of each country. This depicts the same data as the previous chart, just in a different way. The chart depicts the rate of mortality from cardiovascular disease for regions of sub-Saharan Africa and other regions of Africa as well. This graph is across both sexes, and it uses age standardization to ensure a fair comparison between regions. Out of 100,000 people, 505.29 people died of cardiovascular disease in 2016 in Madagascar. That makes Madagascar the country or region with the highest mortality rate from cardiovascular disease in 2016. Hopefully, with our plans to improve the diets of those in Madagascar, we will see a drastic decrease in both the deaths and the amount of people living with cardiovascular disease. With Program Healthy Heart, we have a plan as to how we are going to prevent the increase of cardiovascular disease as well as benefiting the society in Madagascar. Keeping in mind that we had $50,000 and ensuring that we will see measurable impact in 1 year, our solution is this. We plan to use the $50,000 to buy seeds, land, and educational resources. All 3 of these sources will be used to reduce the spending on unhealthy food. Through agriculture, we will be able to create jobs, which will reduce the economic burden as well as increase physical activity. As a result of all of this, we believe we can reduce the rates of cardiovascular disease in Madagascar. In the next slide, we go into depth about each aspect of our solution. One of the main factors we want to spend some of our money on is education. We want to focus on educating kids aged 6 to 17 as well as adults aged 18 to 50 on 4 main topics including nutrition, agriculture, economics, and physical health because for kids, these educational topics are their means of primary prevention, and for adults, these topics are their means of either primary, secondary, or tertiary prevention, as well as improving their life and their families' lives. We chose these topics because we think nutritional education is vital in choosing the right foods to eat to make sure they are receiving the correct nutrients to ensure a healthy lifestyle. We think that education on agriculture is important on learning correct farming techniques and how to grow certain crops. Education on agriculture is essential because without this, we don't think they will be able to farm, which means no healthy food. Our third topic of education is economic education. And we want to specifically educate them on trade and business so that they can 1. Learn how to sell these crops once they harvest them to make money, and 2. Learn the dynamic between working, such as those who harvest crops, and earning money. Our last topic of education is physical health, and we think this is important because ensuring a healthy heart means exercising it. You need exercise in order to live a healthy life.
One of the main issues that we need to tackle in order to reduce the number of people living with cardiovascular disease are those related to nutrition. We feel that the implementation of a system that grows and provides nutritious foods will greatly help the population of those living in Madagascar. Since Madagascar is an island and the country is so poor, the majority of the population must resort to eating low-quality foods that are extremely high in sodium. They eat these foods that are so poor in nutrition because they are more affordable than nutritious foods. Sodium is a huge contributor to cardiovascular diseases, which is why we want to try and reduce the sodium intake. Another reason we want to tackle the nutrition issue is because we found that more nutritious foods are more filling in the meals that they have already been eating. That will eliminate the ongoing feeling of hunger that most people in Madagascar deal with every day. Lastly, our plan will be the first step because healthy eating can drastically help improve heart health and function. So if we can get people educated in farming, we will be able to improve the physical fitness of the population in a short period of time. We think that another benefit of our plan is that it will help to better the economy in Madagascar. Increasing agricultural funding will allow for more jobs for the people. Examples of new jobs would be farmers and their harvesters that tend the field. Similarly, there will be people that will need to sell and process the foods for market. Another way that this would improve the economy is through the creation of a buyer and seller market. Creating this market allows opportunity for the people of Madagascar to make money for their families by selling their crops or making valuable food with their crops. Finally, there will be the creation of trading opportunities. Mass harvesting of crops could allow for Madagascar to export their crops to other countries to create their own revenue. This will improve the overall economy of Madagascar and could make them a stronger force in the global import and export market with time. Our healthcare systems consist of 3 areas: primary, secondary, and tertiary care. The focus with our program is to provide primary care through education and local farming within these communities in Madagascar. The premise of primary healthcare is to improve the health of all sectors of the population. By using local farming, the people will decrease the onset of cardiovascular disease and hopefully decrease the need for medicine and resources that aren't easy to obtain access to. Furthermore, we will be in contact with people of all socioeconomic statuses through this program because there are so many people that are needed for the production and selling of foods. The education part of the program will allow the people in these areas to have better understanding of how to prevent cardiovascular disease and live a healthier life with physical activity and producing their own foods. In the long run, this will be the most sustainable way to improve the overall health of the people without having to provide expensive screenings that may not be used by the population. In short, our program will allow for the creation of more jobs. People can work in the fields by farming, harvesting, maintaining, and preparing and selling of the foods. This will improve the economy by increasing the number of people that are employed and contributing to the economy, while also decreasing the cost of foods that these people would have previously been forced to purchase at markets and convenience stores. Thus, nutritional foods will become more easily attainable. The health status of the people in Madagascar would increase by allowing them to obtain healthier food and having better education about food choices and regular exercise. Those who already have cardiovascular disease will be able to decrease the severity of their symptoms and maintain their health. Finally, there will be a better support system in the community because many people will be working to implement this global health initiative. Through this, mental health and other factors may also be improved, along with the rates of cardiovascular disease in the area.